So, I went off and joined an SMP.
I'll go Kamiya.
Kamiya!
These people simply called themselves the Revolutionary Army. They believed that things were better before kingdoms and cities, and they plotted to destroy it.
Let's go, brothers!
And they made their intentions clear, to assassinate the people closest to Kamiya, starting with its ruler, Gem Chem Gaming. Jack Squared followed me back home to Kamiya and wanted blood. The fight was legendary. However, I gained the upper hand. He began running to the revolutionaries who could protect him or even kill me. I pulled out my enchanted bow, aimed, and fired. The final member of the revolutionary armies was BitQ1, betraying Kamiya, giving information to the revolutionary armies, and smuggling items in and out of the country. In exchange for this information, I gave Jack his armor back, and the revolutionary army promised to return all armor and weapons that they had taken in the fight. Peace had been secured. And when the dust settled, tensions seemed to finally be decreasing, and I needed to have an important conversation with BitQ1. However, at the very same time, a new nation would be rising, and would change the course of history on the server forever.
Well, this took a long time to edit. On a serious note, so much has happened since the last video. I want to really apologize for this one taking so long to pull together. I graduated college, finished my internship program, and now I work a full-time job, so I hope you can understand. In addition, a lot of the gameplay footage was corrupted or simply never recorded in the first place, so the replay mod was used a lot more to get footage together for this episode. Finally, due to several members leaving towards the end of the SMP's life, the story took much longer to find its footing, let's just say. Some events happened out of order, some events were quickly done, and there were long gaps between many. But I am happy with the story, especially since we were all making it up as we went. So, without further ado, I hope you can enjoy Episode 2 of the DuckBlock SMP, The People and the Pub. See ya. Was it all a dream? Or was it the future? How long will the peace last? Can the peace remain? Or will war return to my home? I fear for the future of Kamiya, but for now, there is peace. As I meet with BitQ, do I kill them? Or do I let them live? If I let them live, will I be seen as weak? Or a just ruler? I need BitQ alive, at least for now. The Revolutionary Army lost its leader and lost a war. Their members would have disbanded, but did not due to one new player, Chill Reigns. Chill Reigns, the extremely savvy businessman, a lover of both great chaos and of great order, but who, above all other things, loved a good earning. He saw the potential of a force like the Revolutionary Army, and he sent messages to its former members and gathered them together, and reformed what once was into a new legion. They were no mere army. From now on, they would call themselves the Reapers. The leader going forward would be Chill Reigns. Blady quickly became the second in command. The Reapers had also gained the following of Juha 92 and Leaf the Viking. People who had made a name for themselves as mercenaries for hire now stand united. The Reapers were merciless. They were also smart. They lived thousands of blocks away from each other underground so that their bases could not be looted or griefed. In addition, none of the people in the Reapers knew where each other lived, so if one Reaper betrayed the others, they could not become a threat to the rest. These things made the Reapers especially dangerous to the rest of the SMP. After hearing about the Reapers, Moon thought that he could join this new death squad on the server. However, knowing that Moon had previously betrayed the Revolutionary Army, they declined the offer. Outraged, Moon swore that he would make the Reapers regret their decision. He began by running into the wilderness, finding a hill on a mountain and placed a single sign that read, "Here lies the beginning of Pub." Pub, a simple nation. A nation of outcasts, misfits, and those who just wanted a fresh start. The premise lured many towards it, but it only had a small tree farm, a hotel, a villager farm, and a few homes. But soon, others heard about the new land and joined it. Pub consisted of Moon as its leader, Indy as his right-hand man, Arilify, and finally, Crimson EU, its most violent member. Crimson EU, an unstable, ruthless anarchist who valued death and war, had finally joined the server and had joined Pub, a decision everyone would come to regret. Back in Kamiya, Jack Squared thought long and hard about his position in the world, and eventually decided to join Kamiya's ranks. Another player who joined was Gangsta, forming a large compound and selling copper. And finally, TJ Pickles, building new houses and expanding the community farm into a massive plantation. Kamiya was larger than it had ever been before. Kamiya would need to make a lot of bread from the farm, because soon Kamiya would have visitors, diplomats even, from the newly established Pub.
How about this? We make an agreement. If the revolutionary people, if they either go for either of us or you guys, we team up and we fight against them. Today on April 4th.
Let me record. Shut up.
At this day, 2:51 CST,
It's
Kamiya
8:51
and the Pub
actually.
signed an agreement that if revolutionaries attack either nation, the other will answer the call to war. Is that good?
Yeah.
The Emerald Pact. I mean, I do have a giant emerald on my chest. That could work out too.
Emerald Pact.
Uh,
Emerald Pact.
Yo, Jem, how do you like
It's-
that book?
It's gonna have to be
Shut
PAC.
The Emerald Pact was written as follows. These two nations, the Kingdom of Kamiya and the Pub, in these times of uncertainty and instability, will join forces against possible adversaries, such as the forces of the Reapers. If at any point in time Kamiya or Pub is attacked by any of the Reapers, the two nations shall combine into a new coalition devoted to bringing all members to justice or death. The Emerald Pact was signed by all attending members of Pub and Kamiya and placed in the center pedestal of the Kamean town center. I would live to create peace, or I would not live at all. The days following the signing of the Emerald Pact were some of the best days on the server. The Reapers heard about this new treaty and did not attack Pub or Kamiya during this time. There were simply too many of us, so they kept to themselves. Business and trade boomed across the server, and the people celebrated these times. I myself was wandering through the capital of Kamiya early in the morning, thinking, was this how things would always be? But soon, everything would change. Multiple explosions rocked the city. The town hall had TNT placed at the top and was destroyed. I called an immediate emergency meeting at the recently destroyed town center. Quickly, however, Crimson EU and Arilify came to the scene to see exactly what had happened. Crimson said that this was the doing of the Reapers, and since they attacked Kamiya, Pub and Kamiya needed to merge into one new nation and declare war on the Reapers and finally wipe them out for good. But as he was saying this, Blazama spoke up. Blazama said that Crimson, who was there for the signing of the Emerald Treaty, blew up Kamiya and tried to claim the Reapers did this heinous act. Crimson, while he was hearing Blazama's testimony, began to flee into the woods, for he knew that he had been found out. I too needed to leave Kamiya for a short time. I needed to have a meeting with an old enemy. I went alone, crossing quite a great distance until I found a cave that would seem innocent. However, it was this cave where I needed to meet someone who I had previously called an enemy. As the leader of the strongest nation on the server, I learned a thing or two. After the long journey, I found it, or should I say, Chill Reigns, the leader of the Reapers. I told Chill about the events that just took place, and he replied that he was outraged to hear that Crimson had framed the Reapers, and after much discussion and deliberation, a new contract would be signed. This new contract, signed between the Reapers and Kamiya, said that the two forces would attack Crimson and kill him for his crimes. But how would we lure Crimson back to Kamiya after everything he had done? It was pretty simple. We came up with a plan. We reached out to Moon, the leader of Pub, telling him that Crimson would be pardoned for his actions, and we would launch an attack immediately on the Reapers. And surely, Crimson and the rest of Pub soon returned to Kamiya.
Of Kamiya, peace has been attained. The Reapers, Kamiya, and Pub have signed peace deals until Crimson came to Kamiya and blew up our home. So I must ask Indy, Moon, Crimson, and anyone else who aligns with Pub, why do you seek to ally with someone who is so eager to kill? Why do you seek to ally with someone who is so eager for blood? Crimson is alive. There will be no peace on this server. Kamiya, equip your potions and bring me the head of Crimson EU.
Never in the entire history of the DuckBlock SMP did so many players lose their lives in so short a time. Crimson EU knew of the betrayal and used traps like end crystals and TNT minecarts, and used pearls and potions to evade our blades. When the dust settled, he said only one thing to me: I am on my way, and you will die. After hearing this, I did the only thing I could. I went home, scrambled to take the few things I could hold, and then I left.
The melancholic melody of the piano keys weaves a tapestry of longing and regret. The cello sings a somber song of loss and pain as I drown in the melancholy of this never-ending rain. Echoes in the rain, whispers in the dark, lost in the depths of my own broken heart. The piano and cello play a symphony of despair as I search for solace in the lonely midnight air.
I've lost everything. I've lost my people, my country, my home, and now have been exiled. If I return, I will be killed by the pub. Separated from my own. They must know how badly I wish to return, but I cannot. I made my new home for myself underground, to not be seen or found, but it's not all bad. I build, I mine, and I fish by the river. It's peaceful out here, but maybe one day I will return to my home. But how? I do not know. But for now, I must hide and stay hidden and prepare for my return. One day, somehow, I will see Kamiya again. The capital has fallen. Crimson and the rest of Pub arrived and planned on burning the city to the ground. But not everyone in Pub sought such a fate for this place. Specifically, BitQ1 and Moon pleaded with Crimson not to dismantle such a country from the SMP. They claimed that if Pub burned Kamiya down, no one from the Pub would truly be safe, as the people were so connected with their home. And so Crimson finally relented, simply renaming Kamiya to New Pub. Large portions of Kamiya were damaged, though. My mansion was burned by members of the Pub. All villagers found in Kamiya were executed by the Pub. Other homes saw vast damage. The community portal was deactivated, and Gem's house, now abandoned, was the worst. An end crystal was placed in the center and blown up. However, the fire of an independent Kamiya burned brightly. I, Blazama, became the new interim leader of the nation. The Kamean Underground was founded. Everyone in Kamiya hated that we were ruled by Pub. And soon we found a way to hide from them and conduct business. The Kamean stone mines became a labyrinth of tunnels that could be used to smuggle items and information out of Kamiya. And over time, the numbers of people in the Kamean Underground grew and grew, but even still, we needed help. And its first task was to sneak out of the city and find the only person on the server who could still challenge Crimson EU and the Pub, Chill Reigns. Chill Reigns and the rest of his Reapers saw the events that had been happening in Kamiya and knew that Crimson, as soon as he could, would launch an attack against the Reapers. He called in many favors and spent a lot of money on the information about ways to defeat the Pub, and he was given coordinates very far away to a bunker in a forest and found the key to victory. The exiled king of Kamiya, Gem Chem Gaming. And the two allies could finally come up with a way to end this nightmare. A lot of time had passed, and my secret base was keeping me alive, but now it's the place where I will avenge my people. Last night, I was visited by Chill Reigns, and together we came up with a plan. I willingly, yes, willingly, gave the coordinates of my base to Blazama, one of my most trusted allies on the server, who then gave them to BitQ1, a Kamean citizen, but who was also trusted by the Pub, who gave them to Moon, who had some sympathy for Kamiya, but was loyal to the Pub. He gave them to Crimson EU, who couldn't be happier. Crimson eagerly awaited the opportunity to kill me and grief my base, and wanted to leave immediately, despite the advice from Marilify to hold off until the rest of Pub could follow. But Crimson, he did not listen, and left for the base with full netherite armor, an enchanted axe, potions, and stacks of TNT. He found the entrance, went in, and I stood there, all alone. He thought he was finally going to kill the king, but I had other plans. I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do.
Crimson was dead, killed by a minecart to the head. How ironic, the man who killed so many people with minecarts and threatened people with minecarts, now killed by one. His ruthlessness and tyranny died with him. I gathered my things and said goodbye to my bunker, and began to head back to Kamiya to tell everyone the news. To tell everyone that Crimson was gone, and that I could freely live in Kamiya once again, and Pub mourned the loss of their strongest member. They left Kamiya and buried Crimson back at the pub, behind his home. And while most members of the pub were grieving, Moon was enraged. Moon, who unknowingly gave Crimson the coordinates to his death, sought revenge on the player that he blamed the most. In his rage, he searched, and after a while he found a hideout, pulled out TNT, and began placing. When he left, the damage was done and he crossed a line. Never, in his time on the SMP, did Chill Reigns have his own base griefed like this. And he was never going to take a display like this lightly. He gathered the Reapers together and pooled all of their gunpowder and sand that they had, and left. I had not seen my home in months. In the basement, Blazama had built a new addition, a drug lab, right attached to the Kamean underground tunnel network. By this point, I just had to move on and make a new home for myself. But it was good to be back. Buildings were being rebuilt as the people celebrated the return of their king. I went to the Kamean town center and saw that the Emerald Pact was still sitting in its place. I removed it, and in front of the pub embassy, I burned it, signaling that the treaty binding the two nations was over. The community portal was reopened, and the people rejoiced, and what followed after would go to be called the Kamean Golden Age. All houses that were damaged were repaired. A new infrastructure project was begun by myself. Bridges were built, roads were built, connecting all of Kamiya. Land reforms were placed, and a brand new Netherrack border was created to determine the boundaries of the country. Torches lit up the city, both for beauty and for protection of all mobs. New people joined Kamiya. New laws were established. The community farm was reseeded and flourished. New monuments were founded, and the people celebrated this new prosperity like it did so long ago. And once again, the people shot fireworks into the night sky and sang out, "Viva Kamiya, Viva Kamiya, Viva Kamiya." Okay, so Bitky said we should go visit the pub today. Bitky said they might be open to a new peace deal with Crimson gone. I agree. So we're going to pay them a visit. Should be up here. It's been a long time since I've visited the pub. There it is. Heyo. It's okay. This happened. Is anyone around? Oh my. It is like gone. It is completely gone.
Chill reigns, and the Reapers devastated the hilltop that was once called Pub. They spared no expense. Villagers were killed, water removed, and now the only recognizable feature was a crater in the middle. Soon Arilify came to the scene and claimed that he saw the Reapers placing the TNT, but he couldn't take on all 4 of them at the same time, so he fled. Soon Moon arrived too, and he too left the nation that he once called home. He traveled back to a build that had been a beacon of peace since its construction, a large hotel at Spawn where anyone can visit and be safe. And just like that, the pub was disbanded. Indy stayed in the area, however, pledging to stay where he originally made his home, and he began filling the crater with water. I personally asked the citizens of Kamiya to help in the construction of a new build. A tavern, a pub, if you will, that was a place where no player was allowed to bring weapons in, where players could feel safe. That was where Indy stayed for the rest of his days on the SMP. And so, I went to visit the Reapers one last time. In their rebuilt meeting place, we made one final treaty. This treaty would be called Pax Eterna, the Eternal Peace.